Hello, Bronco fans and football fans alike. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown. This is the season-ending recap of the 2020 season of the Denver Broncos. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Well, it's been a season that has been a season for the last 4 years with the Denver Broncos, where we started out slow, as always, lost our first 3 again this year. And it has been a season where we had some great games, we had some mediocre games, and we had some absolute pathetic games. And I'm going to get into some of the close games and some of the blowouts that we lost. I'm not going to get into the wins per se because, well, I may get into them as well. But they were very, very few and far between when you end the season at 5-11. Before I get into the actual postseason, I do want to bring you in some breaking news. You guys may have already heard it. I mentioned last video that John Elway has stepped down from being the general manager. And there's a search out now for a new general manager. Well, the news is now that Joe Ellis is also not going to return after the 2021 season. Now, a lot of speculation is because Joe Ellis feels that the team's going to be sold. And if the team is sold, then obviously the new owner is going to want to bring in his own CEO, his own general manager, and on down the line. So if Joe Ellis felt that Brittany Bolin was going to take over, he probably would not say that he's leaving after the 2021 season. Now, my own personal feeling is I don't like this. I don't like this one bit because we don't know who the new owner is. I sure hope and pray that they don't move him out of Denver or anywhere out of Colorado. That would be catastrophic. I would hope that the Bolin siblings would come together and say, no, a new owner has to keep the Broncos in Denver for, 100 years. Because if not, I don't know what to say, guys. I don't know. If the Broncos leave Denver, that would be catastrophic. Not because I wouldn't be a Broncos fan, because I still would, but I just love the city of Denver, and I love Colorado, and I've been there, and I just love the fan base, and I think it would be a shame. That being said, I'm not going to dwell on anything that could possibly be negative in regards to new ownership or whatnot. I just had to bring you the news that Joe Ellis said his last year as CEO is at the end of the 2021 season, along with John Elway. He's, going to be leaving at the end of the 2021 season. Okay, now let's get into the recap of the Broncos season. Let me instead of just going game by game and saying, okay, won this game, this game was this game was that, I'm going to go into the close games that the Broncos had that they lost. And what I mean by close is within a score. And that means that the Broncos had a chance to win the game. Now, did they have a realistic chance? Like, 4 or 5 minutes left in the game and they had the ball? Or was it more like they had the ball with, 18 seconds left on their own 25-yard line and no timeouts? Well, I'm not going to really get into breaking all that down because that would take probably about an hour of this video, and I don't want to go there. I'm just going to recap the close games and just show you that even though the Broncos ended up 5-11, they had 6 games that they lost within one score that they could have won. Now, you take those 6 games that they lost within one score, Now you're talking about the Broncos being 11-5 and not 5-11. So here are those games. Tennessee Titans 16, Broncos 14. Steelers 26, Broncos 21. Falcons 34, Broncos 27. Chiefs 22, Broncos 16. Chargers 19, Broncos 16. Raiders 32, Broncos 31. Those were the close games, the 6 close games that the Broncos lost. Now, sure, a lot of them were games where Denver had the ball late in the game and no timeouts, a large field, to drive and try and score, but still, 1 score difference. Now, was that the offense? Was that the defense? Well, yes and no. Yes, on some of these games, it was the defense. And a lot of these games, it was the offense. In the last game of the season, Raiders moved down the field and scored a touchdown, went for 2 points and got it. And they won 32-31. That was on the defense. The offense, I'd have to say, was on the Broncos-Chiefs game. Because Denver scored 16 points, but they had the Chiefs looking past them that week. And they couldn't win that game. The Charger game, 1960. Come on. Really? We missed opportunity after opportunity to win that game. And we didn't. Another game we should have had. So there were games that we should have had. The opening game of the season, Titans 16, Broncos 14. We should have had that game. But we didn't. Because, again, offense, defense, or special teams gave it up. Now, I hate to go this direction, but I have to. It's the blowout games. And if you look at these games, or these teams, I should say, you look at these teams I'm going to mention. Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Las Vegas, New Orleans, and Buffalo. Those 5 teams had blowouts against the Broncos. Only one of those teams did not make the playoffs, and that was the Las Vegas Raiders. Tampa Bay, Kansas City, New Orleans, and Buffalo are all in the playoffs. And that's a reason why Denver got blown out. Because the Broncos are not in that category. They're not in that elite playoff teams. Now, let me give the scores of those blowouts. Some of them were a little bit closer. Some of them were absolutely a beatdown. Tampa Bay 28, Denver 10. Kansas City 43, Denver 16. Raiders 37, Broncos 12. New Orleans, and that was the game where the Broncos did not have a legitimate actual quarterback. That's when they had Helton. That game was a blowout, and New Orleans could have probably run up 55 or 60 if they wanted to. But they held out and didn't do it because they didn't want to embarrass Denver. New Orleans 31, Denver 3. Buffalo 48, Denver 19. Those are the 5 blowouts that Denver really did not have a chance to win those games. Why? Because they're not in that category of the elite teams that I just mentioned. Now, they need to make some major changes. And obviously, with John Elway stepping down from his GM and Joe Ellis going to give up his CEO at the end of the 2021 season, this Bronco team is in a situation where hopefully they make the right choice. Hopefully they make the right choice. And I do not necessarily mean just with GM and CEO. I mean that with ownership. I want this team to stay in the Bowlen family. I really advocate that Brittany Bowlen is the new owner because I feel that she does have the best interest in this team. She is a diehard Broncos fan, and she absolutely admired what her father, Pat Bowlen, did for this team and this organization and for this city of Denver and for this state of Colorado. I feel that. But if the other 6 siblings can't agree, then unfortunately this team's going to be sold, and that hurts me because I don't know where this Bronco team's going to be if a new owner has control. That being said, I do want to say, going back to this season, before this season ever started, the Broncos were in deep trouble. They lost Von Miller to a season-ending injury. They lost Cortland Sutton to a season-ending injury, an ACL. And during the year, we had a game, obviously I mentioned, against the Saints where we didn't have a viable quarterback because all 3 decided to try and hide the fact that they didn't wear masks, and the NFL office found out. Then there was also other injuries. Noah Fant was hurt. There was other injuries to players like not Gordon. Melvin Gordon was hurt. And just the simple fact that the Broncos just couldn't seem to get out of their own shadow. Whenever there was an issue that came up, they somehow couldn't deal with it. Or there was a setback. We didn't even have a true bye this year. So there was very, very different situation with this team this year that caused the Broncos to never really get on track. There was coaching incidents with Vic Fangio where he didn't know when to call a timeout. Then he called a timeout the wrong time. Then he goes for a field goal of 70 yards in the last game instead of doing a down and out to get closer for a more manageable field goal. So there's a lot of issues that this Broncos team going into the offseason really, really does have to deal with. And I'm going to get into that as weeks go on. I'm going to let the playoffs play out. I'm not really going to get into any Bronco issues until after the Super Bowl, because that's when everything really starts kicking in. Unless there's a major development like the hiring of the GM or any other major issues like an unexpected trade or something in that situation, then I'll get into it. But other than that, I'm going to wait till after the Super Bowl, let all of this play out, let you guys really enjoy the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and then I'll get into the Broncos postseason and drafts, trades, whatever else issues are out there. So that's my take on this. I really don't know what direction the Broncos are going to go. I'm going to wait for the GM, and then I'll have some information in a video about the GM and some things that he may have said. By the way, if you guys notice in the background, instead of the Super Bowl 50 Broncos flag, I have the Colorado Avalanche. That's because whenever the Broncos season is over, I change over to the next season, which is the Avalanche. And then when the Avalanche season is over, I'm sorry guys, I'm a diehard Chicago Cubs fan. I will put up the Chicago Cubs 2016 World Series flag. So that's why the Avalanche flag is up, in case anybody was wondering. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I feel that the Broncos are on the way up. I just have some really, really concerns as to why certain things are happening. Like, why is Fangio still the coach? I don't know whether Drew Lock's going to be the starting quarterback. We don't know who the GM is. So once I know all that, then I will bring you the next video. Okay? Until then, enjoy Super 6 weekend with 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Enjoy it. And any breaking news out of the Broncos, I will definitely bring it to you this coming week. If not, I'll talk to you when that does happen or after the Super Bowl. All right? Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.